Okay, once again, welcome to another class, another web development front-end tutorial. And in today's session or in today's class, we're going to dive into CSS and try to make our website look a little bit beautiful. So right now, when we go live with this website, we're going to have the way the browser understands the HTML tags. Now, at this point, we are going to manipulate. At this point, we are going to manipulate this and the display a little bit so that a lot of things will be customized. Like we can change the color of the text. By default, we are having black as the color of the text. We can change that. We can also change the background of our website to whatever color we want to use. So let's first of all understand what CSS is, and I'm using develop the Mozilla website. So MDN Web Docs, that's what I'm using for this illustration, and to better explain this thing to us. So what is CSS? Like HTML, CSS is not a programming language. That's one thing we need to take note of. CSS is not a programming language. It is not a markup language either. So HTML is a markup language, and HTML is not also a programming language, just as CSS, but CSS is not a markup language. Rather, CSS is a style sheet language. So it's different from HTML and different from programming languages. It's a style sheet language that we use to style HTML elements. So CSS is what you use to selectively style HTML elements. So for example, this CSS selects paragraph text, setting the color to red. So if you look at the CSS here, we have selected the P, which is for paragraph, and we set a color of that to be red. So for example, we have our, so not this one, we have our P tag right here, right? This is the P tag. When we come to our browser, that's our P tag. So with CSS, we can select just like what we have right here. We can select the P tag and give it whatever color we want to give. So there is red and so many other colors. So let's try it out. Using a text editor, paste the 3 lines of, okay, in a directory named styles. So what we want to do is to create a new file. So this will be, so I don't want it to be in this project folder. I want the file to be, so I'm going to click outside and say new file, and I'll call it style.css. So remember that the most important thing right here is the file extension, which is the .css. That is the file extension. So let me quickly copy this code. So I copy that and I paste it right here. And when I hit save, you should expect a result, but nothing will happen. The reason why nothing happened is because we need to link our CSS to HTML. We need to tell our HTML file that this is where the styling is coming from. Go to style.css, and whatever styles is written there, apply it to the tags or to the elements. So how we do that, still in the head section, remember we said that the head section contains information that are needed by the web page. The information that the web page needs to run smoothly are mostly embedded in the head section. This CSS link to external CSS file is an example of those information. So how we do that, how we link it, we use the link tag. The link tag style. So we use the link tag to link our CSS file. So note that we're using link rel equal to style sheet. So to do that, we use the link tag, link rel equal to style sheet, href equal to style.css. So let's go back to our browser and we can see that the text is now in red color. So let's change that color to ensure that it's working. So we come over to here and we change it to like blue. Let's use blue and save. And you see that the text color is also changed. So let's say we want to do for the H1, we want to change the H1 color as well. So we break out of this parentheses, these curly braces, then we do our H1 and we make our curly braces. In between we say color, and we set it to, let's set it to brown and save. So when you go back, you see that the H1, which is the heading one, the color has been changed to brown. So that's how we can select elements in our HTML file and add stylings to them. So let's go back to our reference. So we've tried that. To make the code work, we will need to apply the CSS above to your HTML. Okay, we've done that. Then we save and we're good to go. So then let's look at the anatomy of a CSS rule set. The anatomy of a CSS rule set. Let's dissect the CSS code for red paragraph text to understand how it works. So when we come to our page, let me take out this one and increase the screen a little bit. So the P that we have here is called a selector, not actually the P, but whatever you have outside of the parentheses of the outside of the double braces of, it's known as a selector. Then in between we have the property and property value, right? We have the property and the property value. So we have a selector, property, and property value, right? So let's go back to this anatomy and quickly understand more of it. So we have the selector, the property value. So from the property to the property value is known as a declaration. So we have one declaration here telling our paragraph to have a color of blue. So we can have so many properties and values in one declaration, or yeah, in one declaration. So we can also say font size. We can also say font size. Let me take out this. We can set font size to, let's say, 100 pixels, and we save, and we come back. We see that the P is now very big. So we have about two properties and value, or two declarations. So we have two declarations here. We have declaration 1 and declaration 2. A declaration for the color of the text, another declaration for the size of the text. So we can also add so many declarations just based on what our website design looks like. Let's say we want to give it a font family, that is a font type. So a font family. I'm going to just hit enter. So I'm using the Carrier New. Let me get rid of those ones. So I'm using Carrier New. When I save it, the font family changes. So you can see that we can have more than one values, more than one declaration in a particular selector. So we have a selector, we have properties, we have property value, we have declaration. And so this is, so let's go back to our MDN website and see more things. So the whole structure is called a rule set. So the entire structure from like this, the entire structure like this is a rule set. So we just have one rule set in this CSS file. Let's have another rule set, and for this time around, let's do for our H1. Let's create a rule set for H1, and we want to do property of color, and we want to give the color Rebecca purple, and we want to see font size. So we want this to be bigger than our paragraph. Let's make it 150 pixels. We also want to give it a font family as well. A font family of, let's give it, let's take this one. So we're going to, I will explain all of these. So let's take Franklin Gothic, and let's also do a font weight. Before then, let's save and see our results. So when we save and we go back to our website, we see that this is a heading 1. So this is too big. Let's reduce the numbers. Let's call this 40, and let's call this 20, and let's save. So you can see that this is a heading 1, and it has a different font. Let me change this font to something. So I'll call this Arial. Let's see if this font works. Okay, it works. Let me say sans serif. Okay, right. Let me get rid of this and try it again. So let's say Helvetica. Let's say Helvetica. So let's save it, and let's change the color to forest green, or forest green, yeah. So we can see that whatever we are doing in our CSS is affecting how the text is being displayed or how our website is being displayed. So we can change the background of our website, of the text. Let's say we want the background color to be background. So most of the things are self-explanatory. Background color, let's give it a brown color, and let's call our so when we save and see the results, we have this. That's the background color. Now let me change the color of the text to like white, because I want white to be there. Let's say white smoke. So you can see that we now have a website that we've customized some of the elements, the HTML elements, and we're making them look more beautiful. So when we have a design that we want to replicate, we can use CSS to customize things and make it look exactly like what the design is. So that's basically what web development is all about. You take a website and a web design, and you try to implement that design using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So at this point in the tutorial, we have started using CSS, and we've been able to style this website using CSS. So one other thing I would want us to do before we call it a day is to, so remember that the body wraps up every other thing that is being displayed in our website. So every other thing that is being displayed, this is without the tags, this is without tags. We're saying this without tags. This is heading 1, heading 2, so on and so forth. This is a paragraph. They are all wrapped in the body container. So that means we can go to CSS and say body, we give it background color, and we can say, no, don't want to use Alice blue. Let me see, cornflower blue. Let's go with cornflower blue and see. You can see that the entire body has now been changed. That means every other thing is wrapped in the body tag. So we can change that color. There is one color I like so much, which is crimson, and you can see. So let's also change the color of our text to white as well, our P tag to white. So you can see what we have right here. What you can also do is to change the color of all the text in our website. We want to change the color of all the text in our website. To do that, we can come to the body. So you don't do text color, rather what you do is color, and you select the color you want to use. We want to use white smoke. So that will change all of the text color. So you know that you can either select each of the elements, like what we did. We selected P tag and we made it white. We selected H1 and we made it white smoke. Now we are selecting the entire body, everything that is in the body, all the text, and we are making them white smoke as color. So if I should take this out and also take this out, we will still have our colors as white. So that will be the end for today's class, and I'm going to send